Yeah, I was lucky enough to be the first girl at Lumpinee because when I first started Muay Thai, I said to the trainers, I want to fight at Lumpinee Stadium. Everyone laughed at me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome wherever you are in the world. My name's Kyl Reber, and this is another edition of the Kyl Reber podcast. It's a podcast where we get to interview people from across the world, and sometimes Aussies living in other countries doing amazing things, and that you may not initially know, but they're famous to us or to me. And by the end of this, you might like this person too and want to see more of what they do. This person I have met very briefly a couple of times now in Thailand, but I, like many other people, when she's at her fights at Lumpinee, yell out an Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. She is doing amazing things over in Thailand. Some would say living the dream. Some would say living a nightmare when they see what she does for a living. But without further ado, Celest Hansen, thank you very much for allowing the time to chat with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
And so you must love just every now and then just talking to another Australian accent. Do you just sort of go, I just need to find somebody Australian to talk to?
Yeah, I do feel that. There's not many Aussies in Thailand. I think
No,
maybe 20 years ago, yeah, but now no.
because when we were over on that last tour, like those mornings where Fairtex was getting swamped, you must just have been, this is just heaven. This is like just being at home in a pub.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. And I actually came to one of your dinners and there was just Aussies everywhere. It was so weird. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, as we do with our process, for those of you who are new, we have a list of 10 questions. Celeste got these questions a little while ago, and in between training sessions, she's read over them. And we try and deep dive into the questions and get the answers that maybe they're not used to giving in normal podcasts. So, number one, which is never 7 minutes, but birth to now in 7 minutes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so at the start, I was born in a place called Inverell in New South Wales. I've never
Mm-hmm.
been back there. So my family, they do they're traveling showmen. So like
Mm-hmm.
the Easter Show Sydney or Brisbane Ekka. So we live in a caravan, we don't have a house. Um
So in
so
Australia, that would be what we call carnies or showies.
showies.
Showies?
Carnies would be American because they work carnival. That's a
Mm,
bad word for us, but yeah, showman.
yeah.
And then
Can I
so
just
we
go back a
travel.
further step? How did that come to be? Is that a family, like a generational thing, or
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it's a generational thing. So you're
how
born
far
into
back are
it.
we going?
I don't know, a few generations.
Yeah, right. Okay. Interesting. Keep going.
And then so yeah, we didn't have a house and we traveled around and lived in a caravan. I couldn't do any sports because obviously we don't live anywhere. So sports is not my background. I had no idea I'd be a professional athlete. Um and then by the time I got to the age of schooling, we had homeschooling, a teacher that would take care because there's a big community.
Mm,
And there's other kids. And then as I get a bit older, we advanced up and we had a traveling truck that became a traveling school for us.
okay.
And we did school there. But then when you got to the age of high school, I mean, homeschooling, like you need proper education. So if you're lucky enough, your mum and dad worked really hard and sent us to private boarding schools. I went to school in Sydney.
Okay.
So I left home when I was 11 years old. That was horrible. I just remember crying every day saying, I want to quit in year 10.
Have you
My
got
mum and
brothers
dad were
and
like,
brothers and sisters?
yeah, I got one older brother. He went to boarding school in Sydney as well and did the
That would
same
have
thing.
been like, you know, I mean, you think like the things other 11-year-old kids are doing. Are you going to boarding school? Because you would have only like what been able to catch up at school holidays and that sort of thing. So like 10 weeks at a time, essentially living independently. There would be definitely cons to that. But have you found that that's something that, it gave you a good foundation? Because like you pretty much went over to Thailand free agent and just went, I'm just going to give this a crack. So that probably helped as a foundation.
Oh, absolutely, I think. Because, yeah, I basically left home when I was 11. So,
Mm.
I mean, leaving home to go to Thailand is exactly the same. So I guess, yeah, I just feel comfortable doing my own thing. I learned it from a young age. I don't know any different, to be honest.
Hmm. What did your so like moving from town to town, like you said, sports was sort of out of the question because you were never there long enough to play a season or anything. What about friends? How was it just within that showy community?
Yeah, yeah. So we just had the friends within the show community. But thinking back, a lot of some of the times I went to shows where there was no other kids. So I was very lonely sometimes.
Mm. What was sort of the role that your parents did as part of the show community? Like what was their
Um,
work?
so they sell strawberries and ice cream and chocolate,
Oh,
fruit salad. It's so
An
good.
Eka favorite.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also have carnival games like the bust the balloon game, roll the
Okay,
Coke bottle down. So we have both sides.
right. So school, so you boarded right the way through high school?
Yeah, to year 12 at the same
Um,
school.
what happens after year 12? Or when does Muay Thai become a thing?
Well, after school, so I worked for my parents my whole life. So I also learned how to build a business and run a business like since I could walk.
Mm,
Um, then after school, I came back and made my own business, or sometimes help my mom and dad or my brother. But it was very like work for like you live to work. There's nothing else to do. And then I started drinking because it was the only fun thing we had to do. Like after work, go have some drinks with everyone. And yeah, it was when I do something, I give it 100%. Like Muay Thai, everything is for Muay Thai.
mm,
So like at that point, everything was for drinking. There's nothing else to do
yeah.
except work hard and drink.
And it's
And then
very much a staple of that. In my old role, I worked security and crowd control for 20 years, and the ECA was one of our contracts for I think probably about 11 years. And yeah, the showies knew how to kick
yeah,
on after close.
yeah, 100%. I think like a lot of Australians, to be honest.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's an Australian culture. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I met someone. So like I haven't really had relationships my whole life because I went to an all girls school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then eventually I met someone, but they were local. They lived in Melbourne, and like fell in love or whatever. And then
Mm.
anyway, they didn't want to be with me. They said I was fat or something. I was a bit chubby. I wasn't really fat, but I think it was the traveling. But they didn't say that. But anyway, I was like, oh, I want to go to the gym and lose weight. And I was in Sydney at the time, and then so I went to a gym, like a fitness gym, to lose weight. Um, and I seen a sign that said boxing. And I was like, oh, I've always dreamt of being a famous boxer because
Mm.
my family friend is Johnny Lewis. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
him?
Yep, the
And I
trainer.
always dreamt of going to live with him and becoming a famous boxer, like if I watch boxing movies and stuff like that. But I never thought it would actually happen because of my lifestyle. Like it
Mm.
was never a thought that
Yeah,
this
to
would
get
actually
any sort
happen.
of continuity and training just wouldn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked the gym, I said, oh, do you do boxing? They're like, oh no, we only do Muay Thai at the moment and box fit. So I was only in Sydney for like a month because of the Easter show, and then I was leaving, and then I tried it out and I was like, oh, do you think I could have a fight? They're like, oh, you have to at least learn for 6 months because I was so bad. I was terrible. I'd never done sports in my life. I could never do a star jump. Like I was just they probably looked at me and were like, what is wrong with
Oh my
you?
God. She's a
You're the
liability.
you're the worst person that's ever walked into the
Can we
gym and
check
you
this
want to
kid has
fight
signed the waiver?
me. And I said, well, I don't have 6 months. Like I'm gonna move to the next town in a few weeks. Like
Mm.
they're like, oh, well, you can't do it. And then I was like, do you know where in Thailand I could learn? I didn't even know how I thought of that. I didn't know anything about Muay Thai. Oh, actually, sorry. I've been to Thailand during the years I worked for my mum and brother.
Uh-huh.
And I'd watched a Muay Thai fight at Bangla
Mm.
Stadium in Phuket.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a girl fight. And watching it, I don't know, there was just this big fire passion. And I was like, oh my God, that is just amazing.
Had
And
you
then
ever like had any what would you say, history? Like, had you been in fights at school, or had you been what you would call an aggressive sort of kid, or like was this fueling a fire, or were you just go, I really like that? Or like, like the first time you get punched in the face, you go, that really hurts, you know?
I guess my mum was a very aggressive person, as in she wouldn't let anyone stand over her.
Well,
So
that
maybe,
would be inbred from that showy sort of culture, wouldn't it?
yeah, because people come to the show and they're like the locals, they're like, we want to fight with the showies.
Hmm.
So we're not going to be like, oh, we're just going to step down. And people think that we're the problem, but it's just people like a challenge, so they come to the show and want to like fight. And
Hmm.
we're like, oh, you're not going to hurt us. We'll hurt you. And maybe that mentality. Yeah, I'd never been in a fight or a punch up or anything like that.
Yeah.
But actually, I was in a fight one time. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I was
So
at a nightclub and there was this. I'm not a judgmental person. Wear whatever you want. I don't know why I said it, but I was like, a girl walked past. I was like, well, she looks like a $2 whore, and then she's like, what the fuck? And then she came up and what do you call it? A sniper dog
oh, sucker
king hit.
punch.
Sucker punch when I wasn't looking.
Yeah, king hit.
Yeah, I deserved it because why would I say that? And
And
then
now you're living in patio. Is that ironic or?
karma.
So so you're done that 1 month at this Muay Thai gym. Have you managed to negotiate some sort of outcome to a fight there? What happens then?
No, absolutely not. They laughed at me.
Thank
But
God.
actually, I went from the worst in the class to the best in the class within that month. I think because I was just so passionate about it. And
Mm,
they were like, oh wow, yeah. So they told me where to go in Thailand, where they'd trained before in Koh Samui, Lamai
hmm.
Muay Thai. So I finished working the Sydney Royalista show and then I went to Thailand.
So
And
what year is this?
2016.
Okay.
And yeah, I've been here ever since.
So how old were you at that point?
I think I was 21, turning 22. Now I'm 30.
So
So about 8 years.
you're saying to your like your parents or your family. So a little bit about me. I'm moving to Thailand and I'm just going to start training and, just explore this whole professional Muay Thai fighter thing. When you're saying that to people, and are you even hearing yourself say, they go, oh, fuck, what am I doing?
No, I don't think it worked out like that. So I traveled overseas to Europe and America
Right.
within those years. So I think it was just normal for me to travel.
Yeah.
And then so I went to Thailand, but I don't think I said I'm going to live there forever and have a life there. I was just like, I'm going to go do this. And then, yeah, I went to that gym and then I was like, oh my God, I want to fight. And they were like, you're terrible. You have to train for 3 months at least. And then I was like, no, please. And then anyway, I'd been there for a month. And then I said, I've got to go home and my visa's running out soon. Just please book me a fight. And at this point, I was still in beginner's class. You don't even punch each other in the face. They were
Mm, mm.
like, all right, if you really want to, we'll book it. So they did. They
They
did
take
it.
they'd just be going, yeah, another farang bites the dust.
Muay Thai for like a month. And then I did it, and the girl that came, she had a lot of experience. And she was taller than me, and I'm tiny. I thought like Thailand have tiny girls. Why the fuck did this big girl come to fight me for my first
Got a bit
fight?
of she's got her parents were Vikings or something.
Anyway, somehow I won. I remember sitting down after the first round, saying to my corner, "Whoa, I didn't know fighting was like this."
When the ref put his hand up, did you look at him and go, "Are you sure?"
Probably, yeah. I had a broken nose from an elbow. Oh, it was really funny.
So after that, what happens? What happens then? Like, is there like a little moment where you go, like you said, you didn't go with the plan of being here indefinitely. Did you sort of go, oh, well, let's see where this goes?
yeah, I think I just kept doing it. And then I said to the gym, I'm going to extend my stay. I want to fight again. So they booked me another fight in 2 weeks. But the girl I was originally going to fight pulled out, and a girl that was a multiple champion rocked up, and I lost round one.
Well, it's still a notch.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, then I went home and worked, got some more money, and yeah, I just kept staying here. For the first few years, I did have to go home and work a lot,
Yeah.
and then come back, so I had money. And
Have
then
you ever fought
eventually
in Australia?
one time for the WBC belt
Yep.
against Kim Townsend
Oh, yep. And
in
that
Brisbane.
sort of, so the fighting in Australia, because you've sort of done things,
The
I don't know,
opposite way.
whether you'd say the reverse to what others would do. Like people train for so long, then go, you did Thailand first. So like you're an Australian who's only fought in Australia once. That's like, I mean, not an odd way, but it's a different way to do it. But it seems to have worked, hasn't it?
Oh, it did definitely worked. I love it. I don't regret anything. Anyone new starting out, I just start in Thailand, honestly. Well, I mean, I don't really know Australian Muay Thai as much. But if you're
Mm.
able to, yeah, do it here.
Mm. What's so were you there during COVID?
Yeah.
How was that?
Oh, it was really depressing and sad. And because, Australian government would help people. I mean, here, if you had no money, you just
You had no
die.
money.
There was so many people died, suicide, people homeless. Like, it was just a horrible time.
Hmm. For you, that like, I mean, obviously, like you're probably I would say homesickness is something that you've probably learnt, you've learnt to cope with. But something like COVID, where like there, even if you wanted to go home, you couldn't. That would have put a little bit of a spin in the mix.
Well, actually, it was the Sydney show was about to happen. I booked my flight to go home,
Ah,
and I think it was like 3 days before. It was all happening, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then 3 days before, the airport cancelled. You're not allowed to fly out.
yeah,
And I'm so grateful that happened because I would be so depressed being stuck in Australia because it's not my home. Like, here's my home. Like,
yeah.
and I was lucky enough to be stuck here. If I was stuck in Australia, not being able to do anything, I don't know what would happen.
You're probably right there. Like, I mean, it would have been a much different thing for you, especially like, yeah, like you just become so used to the culture and the people and everything there. How, coming out of COVID, so now you're, when did the relationship with Fairtex start, or how did that come to be?
Well, actually, when I first came to, so
So
I
sorry,
stayed in,
sorry for those who don't
sorry.
know, Fairtex is probably one of, if not the most prominent known Muay Thai gym in Thailand. And Celeste is on their official fight team, I guess you'd say. So yeah, how did that come to be?
So I moved to Koh Samui when I first came to Thailand, and then I moved to Phuket. And then within a few months of staying there, there was a word going around that Fairtex was looking for MMA fighters for girls, and that's when Stamp went to Fairtex. Actually,
Mm,
that's how they found her. And then I thought to myself, to like, because I had the opportunity to go because a friend knew a friend, and then I was like, I don't want to do MMA. I want to
mm,
do Muay Thai. And
mm,
at the time, I had a boyfriend, and he was my trainer, and everything was really good. And like, I was fighting often in Phuket, and then I decided to stay in Phuket. But I'm like, oh, maybe if I went to Phuket, Fairtex, I would be the same as Stamp right. But I am very grateful that I stayed in Phuket because then I was able to gain a lot of experience,
yeah,
a lot of fights. Like, I've got 55 fights at the moment.
yeah.
And I got that from staying in Phuket and fighting every week. And then so fast forward, I trained at a gym in Phuket. Um, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. Anyway, I had some problems with them, tried to get out, ended up at Fairtex, and
The rest is
yeah, happy
history.
days. Like, I'm so grateful. They treat me amazing. I'm sponsored there. Mr. Wong's the best. I love him. He's the owner of Fairtex.
they seem to be a real, the experience I've had with them, they seem to be a real family orientated sort of thing. Like you're not an, and again, not no disrespect to any fight gyms, and they seem to do stuff that I like the way they do it. Like they seem to care about you beyond how much you're winning for them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a family.
It's
Mr. Wong
personal.
says that.
Yeah.
His gym's been open for what? I think 50 something years. And he
Yeah, it's like
says,
70, 71 or something like
oh,
that. Yeah.
yeah, it says it on the picture. I don't know why I
Mm.
can't think of it. Um, and he said, yeah, the reason he's survived is because he treats people like family. And even when they're older, they come back and work for him and say hello to
Mm.
him. Where a lot of other gyms, like what I've
Mm.
experienced, they are horrible.
You would know actually, like you said, being a local, like there would be those sharks out there in that sort of environment, which again, there's probably the same. Well, there is the same in Australia, but yeah, it would be a bit of a you'd be probably very grateful that you've just found that gym that because arguably if you hadn't, you maybe wouldn't still be in Thailand. It just wouldn't have worked out.
No, I wouldn't even be fighting. They tried to do all that to me. My career would be ended.
Hmm. Hmm.
Very
Hmm.
lucky to be at Fairtex.
So getting up to speed now, you are fighting on the One Championship banner. Um, we saw you fight. It wasn't last year, I think, but the year before. You had a cracker of a fight. Um, where are you as far as progressions? Have you got future fights booked in or anything as yet, or we're just training in the hopes we have one soon?
My next fight is October 4th,
Okay.
so in like a month's time.
And
And
that's
then
in
yeah.
that's Lumpinee or in
Yeah,
Bangkok?
yeah, one Lumpinee in Bangkok, yeah.
Excellent. Righto, we're up to speed now. So question 2, 3 reasons you get out of bed every morning. Number 1,
To go train.
Muay Thai.
uh,
What's a
Number
what's a
two.
day what's a day in the life of what's like not to say boring, your days would be very routine. Routine is your best friend. So
Oh,
what's a
I
day in
love
the life of
routine.
Celeste?
Wake up 5:50, get ready, go running, come to the gym, train, finish like 10:30, 11,
Mhm.
come home, cook, eat, sleep, go back to training, come home, eat, sleep, go back to training.
6 days a week?
Yeah. Sunday, I just sleep all day because I'm so exhausted.
Um, this for those listening, this podcast is being done about we start at 11 o'clock Thai time, so I'm interrupting Celeste's nap time, so he's going to be cranky as fuck training this afternoon. So sorry trainers. So what's the second reason you get out of bed?
My bird.
Okay, yeah, what birds do you have?
I have a cockatiel and a budgie. And they're both Aussie birds, like me, but they were born here.
Yeah, right. Does that give you just a little bit of connection?
Uh Connection, well, more like a family. I'm
Yeah.
pretty lonely out here. But yeah, I really love them.
It's I talk to the guys that in our fight team that are still in an amateur status. There is so many things, everyone watches on YouTube the highlight reel of fighters. The fighters don't usually put on their low light reel where they like, they're lonely, they have to get up early, they can't go out, they have to do all these things. They're the things that, they're the hard parts of training, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's number 3?
I don't want to say it out loud what came to my mind. I was gonna say Instagram. I don't know.
That's okay. Do you find look,
I use Instagram like a personal
do you know what? I'm exactly the
journal.
same. I write a thing every Sunday, things I've been reminded of this week. And I've had so many people say, like, who are you? why do you write that? Who are you writing it to? And I said, it's a digital journal. It's like, it's things I've been reminded of this week to make sure I do. And then I can look back on them because, yeah, if you put anything up on the internet, it's there forever. And like, you're right, it is a good journal for you, just how you're feeling, how things are going. Do you find, that is a way for you to, well, not just stay connected, but to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the words like,
I think I know what you mean.
yeah, it's just nice, to share your story.
Yeah, otherwise you don't really connect with anyone.
No. And like you said, like there's even though you've been in Thailand so long, like you said earlier, you don't see as many Aussies as you would think.
No, absolutely not.
Um, yeah, no, I think that's very valid. And again, it's a way of you communicating and clearly, like, anyone now as an athlete, it's part of their life now to have that profile because, you know, if you wanted to be a millionaire, you wouldn't be a Muay Thai fighter, would you?
Not.
Now, two guilty pleasures that you have.
Chocolate and Instagram.
Back on Insta. Go-to chocolate.
I'd say Cadbury, but you can't buy it here. So
Do you know if anyone's coming over from Australia, do you say, hey, can you bring us over some Tim Tams or a big block of
yes,
dairy?
yes, I do say that. Please, just anything, any chocolate. I'm very lucky. My mum does send me packages with lots of chocolate.
I don't want money. I want Cadbury.
Yes.
How do you go with like I mean, you'd be very adjusted to the Thai food, I guess. But is there any times where you just go, I would just kill for a fucking chicken palmy from a pub in Australia or something like that?
Yeah, but there's actually a place on Grab. Grab is Uber.
Yeah.
And it's this like chicken schnitzel with barbecue sauce, bacon. It's it's like Australia. It's so good. And homemade tips. So I order that.
That's the Sunday meal.
Yeah.
Nice. Number 4. One thing that you bought that has literally made your life happy ever since you bought it.
When I prepared for this question, the answer is my birds. I did buy them and I don't regret it. And they make me really happy and I really love them.
How many times do you find yourself having a deep and meaningful conversation with a cockatiel and you go, I'm fucking talking to a bird?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with my dogs, and I'm like, he can't talk back to me.
Well, they kind of can. Communication. They are family.
Yeah, yeah. But do you feel that just makes you feel like you're not home alone?
Yeah, absolutely. If I didn't have them, I'd be talking to the wall. Hey, how are you? Because I don't do anything except for go to training. Like
Yeah.
I think there's nothing else to do. I don't have the energy or time to do it.
I wanted to I wanted to ask it before, but I'll jump back again. That made me think because when you said like you went through that period where you're probably drinking excessively, when you started to get into Muay Thai, was there that turning point where you went, this just isn't conducive to what I want to do?
Yeah. So it kind of the drinking it stopped a little bit before I went to Thailand.
Mm.
I
Because
ended
even
up being
going to
like
Thailand is a culture where you have beers every afternoon if you're a tourist.
yeah, absolutely. But even Thai people, they're very much like Australians. They like to catch up and have a beer.
Mm.
Over talking and stuff. But I didn't like the way alcohol made me feel. And I
Yeah.
started to get like sick and also I'd wake up depressed and anxious and
Yeah.
then because I'm an all or nothing person, my addiction went from alcohol to Muay Thai. So I didn't need the drinking because I had something that occupied myself.
Hmm. And I guess, yeah, I mean, there's healthy addictions and there's unhealthy addictions. And you read about addiction, like, people, like not, not drinking anymore, but instead they've now become addicted to running. And they're like, okay, well, why? Well, because this is better. This is making me healthy and this makes me feel like shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, yeah, that was interesting when you said that, because, yeah, there would have been that point where you just went, this just isn't working. I need to cut this. Was it cold turkey? Just go, boom.
Basically, yeah, cold turkey. And
That-
then I think moving to Thailand and choosing not to be friends with people that drink also helped.
Yeah, because I was going to
Not
say, you
being
be in an environment on a day-to-day basis. I'm taking a stab. I don't think any of the fight team really gets on the beers, do they?
no,
So
absolutely
you're
not.
in
No.
that culture, and it's just, you are you are who you surround yourself with, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Hmm. Um, Now, number 5. One thing everyone thought you were crazy doing, but did it anyway, and it paid off. I kind of know the answer, but you tell us.
Muay Thai. No, funny story. When I first started, my dad said to me, "Girls can't fight. Like, why don't you do something where you can make money from?" Like, I do understand he was trying to help me, but
Hmm.
I was like, "You wait, one day I'll have money from this." Actually, I don't ever. It's nice to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of am making a little bit of money now, but I think eventually I'll start to make more money. But one day he kept saying it. He would tell everyone, and it would just piss me off. I was like, "Well, just because I'm a girl, I can't fight." And he was like, "Yeah." So you probably shouldn't do this to your dad. But he was standing there, and I low kicked him. It wasn't even that powerful, and he fell to the ground. He's like, "Ah!" And he never said, "Girls can't fight ever
Point
again."
point proven. And he hasn't spoken to me since.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, that is actually like you guys, well, when I say guys, females are still fighting that, like, and it's happening, but there is still that division between males and females very much in
Oh, but
sport in general, but in Thailand it's massive.
it's nothing like it was before. No,
Mm.
when I first came, what could you do as a woman? Nothing. You could win a local stadium title, maybe.
Yeah, because is it only recently in Raja that females have been allowed to fight, like in the last couple of years?
Lumpinee and or
Lumpini?
both the stadiums, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
like
was
in the
lucky
last
enough.
couple of years.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be the first girl at Lumpinee because when I first started Muay Thai, I said to the trainers, "I want to fight at Lumpinee Stadium." Everyone laughed at me. They're like, "You girl, you're not allowed to fight there." I was like, "You wait." And then, yeah, it happened. I was the first ever girl to fight there. And I'm like, who's laughing now?
That's a real, like you said just before, looking back on things. That's a real sitting back in the rocking chair moment to think about, isn't it? Like where
Yeah,
you go, I was the first woman to fight at probably the most prominent Muay Thai stadium in Thailand.
yeah, yeah.
That's a thing. That's a
And it
thing.
makes me so happy that when I first came was when women were nothing and they didn't take
Mm.
you seriously. You couldn't achieve anything. And yeah, to be able to now, you can be a woman and be a superstar in Thailand now. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, like for me too, like I have 2 teenage daughters, one in particular who's, really taking this stuff seriously and seeing where it wants to go, to know that that pathway or that wall is getting progressively broken down at a rapid rate. It makes you feel good to, like you said, like you're not sitting there going, you can't do it. You're actually now sitting there going, this is actually probably possible to do. So I mean, yeah, that's, and again, that's people like you just going, no, I'm doing this, and can I say, there are some of the female fights, watching them, they're more action than the male fights. You know?
100%. Like, I'm not being biased, but 100%. The girls, like, we just give it our all no matter what.
I mean,
And
watching that fight of yours at Lumpini, I think this must have been would have been 2023. Um, And we're just watching on. This is like, obviously as you're getting punched and elbowed in the face multiple times, but we're just going, this is fucking awesome, like just to see this action and this desire to win. Like there's no difference to the men. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Thai commentators when you fight, they always say whenever I fight or some other girls fight as well, they're like, the men should be shy watching this. That makes me so happy.
That's great.
Even the Thai people say it,
It's and again, to be like you said about making money, like, yeah, you could make a heap of money from something and still not have as much respect. Whereas now you've got this respect, and probably with that respect down the track, there will be benefits financially. But yeah, to create that respect, I think is more important than any amount of money.
Yeah, I think, for any athlete, 100%. You got to do the hard yards.
100%. Hard work.
I mean, there's been, I mean, there's been times where a promotion said, well, I'll give you 40,000 after the fight. They give me 20 and like just get stuffed around. But like some people stop after that or like, I don't care about the money. I just care about fighting. That's what I like to do.
You would have already in your, short time, you would have seen people come and go.
Oh, absolutely. So many. And so many, they give up over such silly things. And then it's like the only way to get to the top is to never give up. Like, I mean, I'm a great example. I couldn't even do a freaking star jump when I started. Like, I was shocking.
Don't you wish we could pull back the CCTV or something of that first class?
Oh, I wish. But, social media wasn't a big thing back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish.
Thank God.
Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe people pull up the highlights and be like, I'm going to fight her. Yeah, I'm going to win.
Sure, man. Book me in. Bring that, find it, and that could get you some more fights. You'll get some easy fights, get some paydays. Number 6, 4 things you cannot live without, animate or inanimate.
Okay, well, I don't want to be repetitive, but I think you already know some of the answers.
Muay Thai. Birds.
Instagram. The 4th one, I couldn't. Well, I was going to say chocolate, but I've already said that. Maybe like a good home. That's really important to me. Having a good home, and maybe that comes from moving around all the time and leaving home at 11 years old. Maybe it's all of that, but I really need a stable home and routine.
Where you are now, this would be a thing like, because I mean, essentially, the life of a showy is like a gypsy.
Yeah.
As a kid, were you ever like, what are the chances of having a backyard? Or what are the chances of having a porch? But then did you just view, again, if that's all you know, then that's all you have.
Yeah, well, it was just normal
those times where you would say to your parents, I hate this. Like, or was that just what you did?
No, it's just what I did. And then I guess I realized I didn't like it by me traveling and coming to Thailand. I never said to them I don't like it, but looking back, like I need routine. I need a stable home. Yeah. So that life is not for me.
Yeah. Do you think that routine, clearly you needing routine, has also helped with what you do now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you find like, like someone that you meet that doesn't have routine, does that just do your head in?
I don't really meet that many people, but
because, well, I mean, like how you, that's true. But like how you would, I'm trying to say, like, so you meet
people with no passion or drive.
Yeah, but like someone who comes in wanting to fight, but they're always late, or they're like, they're not prepared. You just look and go, you're not going to last.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm very lucky at Fairtex. Like, there's not that many people like that. But back in Phuket, because it's a tourist destination.
It's a holiday place, yeah.
Most of the people are like that, yeah. Or like if they try to spar you and then try to like overpower you, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You didn't even run in the morning and you think you beat me? Or yeah, there's some like that.
Speaking of running, when we were coming to Fairtex this year, we'd be coming up in the BART buses, I think just before 7:30, and you guys would all be working your way back from the morning run. And some of the guys with us are going, they've already ran. It's fucking hot. And I went, yeah, man, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, but it is easy when you're in routine.
That's right. And creating a routine is very hard probably at the start. But
Yeah.
once you're in that routine, you just stick to it.
Yeah, it makes everything easy when you're routine.
So does that mean that, like, say you have a fight and regardless of like injury or whatever, do you try and stick to that routine? Like, you don't break it, you try and get straight
Oh,
back into
absolutely
what you're
not.
doing, even if it's at like if you're injured and you can't maybe train 100%, you'll still go to the gym at that time and just do something just so you're keeping that habit.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. Someone would kill us if we didn't train. I mean, the other day, I'm not speaking bad. I love Mr. Wong, but I had pink eye,
That's one reason you've got to where you are, because you have someone like that driving you.
Yeah, absolutely. I had conjunctivitis, and then I said to Mr. Wong, I was like, "Oh, Mr. Wong, like I've got conjunctivitis. Like it was really bad, and I was very sick." And he's like, "Oh, okay, maybe you should have 1 or 2 days off because it's contagious." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." He's like, "Did you run this morning?" And I was like, "No, I felt really sick." And then he was like, "Well, you could go to the back and you can run and be fit." I was like, "Miss Wong, would you mind if I just have 1 day off? Like I feel very like it hurts." Gym and train. But first he did ask me, did I go to the doctor? I forgot that part. And I said, oh, I went to the pharmacy to get drops. Do you think it's enough? And he's like, yeah, it's enough. Then that happened. And then anyway, after training, I was like, I feel very ill. Like I'm going to die. So I went to the doctor and then he gave me a note that said I could have 2 days off. And then I gave it to Mr. Dog and he's like, okay, you can have 2 days off. So basically, like you have to train no matter what, which is good.
And I think that's, we have these my guys, I don't know, I think they get a bit offended because they might refer to themselves as fighters. And like, these are guys that have had four, maybe 6 fights. And I say, you're not a fighter. You're a guy who trains a lot, goes to uni or works, and on the weekends, every now and then, you have a fight. I said, if you're a fighter, that means that's what you get up, that's what you do, you live and breathe. If you're coming back from overseas and you have to put occupation on your slip, you can write fighter. You don't write works at JB Hi-Fi and fights on weekends. That's what you do and that's what you are. So, I mean, that is the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I never really thought about that, but yeah. And I think that's why it doesn't bother people in other countries because they have a life outside of fighting. So if they fight every 3 or 4 months, it's fine because they have a life. But for me here, the only thing I do is fight. So if I'm fighting every 3 or 4 months, I am just bored out of my brains and I just want to fight.
Yeah.
Because before I was on one, I was fighting in Phuket like every week, sometimes Friday and then Sunday. Or like when I moved up the level to Bangkok, it was every month. But now it's every 3 or 4 months, and I just want to fight.
Yeah. I mean, you would have obviously heard of Sylvie Von Douglas here too. And we the gym sponsors her with her venture. And when you say to people initially, like, this woman at some points is having 3 fights in a week, and they just go, how is that possible? I just go, that's just what you do,
Yeah.
That's just a habit. Some kids play, your kids go and play soccer once a week. She goes and fights somebody once a week. That's Saturday sport, like that's just what they do. Number 7, if you were not doing what you're doing in life right now, what would have been option number 2?
I mean, there could be so many options, but I mean, obviously, my family business, I could still be traveling. I'd probably have a little bit of money and some assets and stuff like that, but I don't think I'd be very happy. I'd probably have kids as well. No offense to people that have kids, but
It's just not on your radar.
no, I just want to fight. But I mean, I'd probably have like a family, like all that stuff.
All that stuff.
Just be stuck, be doing that. you know, when you have a family, you have commitments, so you can't venture out into anything else.
Has there ever been a time in the time that you've been over in Thailand where you've probably gotten, I guess, low to the point where you've gone, I don't know if I want to do this anymore?
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say
Like,
have a
oh God.
family.
So there's been more than once?
No, I thought you were gonna say, did you get so low you want to have
Oh, no. No, no. Okay. That's not that
a family?
depressing.
I know, sorry. But for a fighter that's a woman, it is because it's basically the end of your
That's the
career.
end, isn't it? I mean, it's not the end, but it's a,
It basically is.
it like, it could be. It could be the end, or it's at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
So
For
anyway,
me,
was there ever a time where, from a Muay Thai point of view, you went, "This is fucked. I want to go home."
yeah. I mean, home is here. They're like, stop fighting. Yeah, so many times. Even like 2 weeks ago, I had a fight, or maybe it was 4 weeks ago. I don't know. I was supposed to fight on August 30th. And then they said, oh, like a week before, you know, you're prep ready to go, cut the weight and all that. And then they're like, oh, you're going to fight on October 4th. But first of all, I heard 4. And I was like, oh, it's just postponed a week. It's okay. They're like, no, the month after on the 4th. I just started bawling my eyes out. Well, I've already waited how many months? Why
Mm,
is this happening? I don't care if a fight postponed a week, but like 6 weeks or however long the
mm,
that I'm just like, what's the point of fighting anymore? Like, I'm just sitting around doing nothing. I'm training 100% every single day.
yeah.
Or like, there was other times, like when I lost 3 times in a row, recently, like last year,
Mm,
and I was
mm.
just like, or there was actually the worst time in my life ever. I lost 3 times in a row after fighting Pet Gita. She was actually in this third row loss too. And I just was so depressed, like suicidal after. And I, yeah, I just, so many times.
So I guess a question for anyone, and this probably extends beyond Muay Thai or just any other sport. How did you get out of that hole? How do you, was it you talking to yourself? Do you have a person, or is there someone or anything like, how do you work yourself out of that situation to still be here talking to us?
Um, the only thing is you just got to do it. You just got to wake up every day and just keep going.
Hmm.
And you just got to take every day at a time.
Do you, do you recognize, like, I guess when you are, can you, like, because you said you've felt that way a lot from a mental point of view, can you catch that now? Can you go, oh, I'm starting to get like that. I need to, this is my combat, you have a little combat system or procedure that you do for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been through that feeling a million times before. And then I just know that I've already been through it. So all I have to do is just take every day. Like life's like a roller coaster. Like eventually it's gonna go back up again.
Yeah.
It's like the fighting, because fighting's everything to me. So when I'm losing, I'm very sad. And I'm
Mm,
like, if I just gotta keep pushing, like sometime it's gonna go back up.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's yeah, I think everyone like I I probably them listening to it is like it's not that easy. But all you could do, you just keep going. Like if you give up, everything's shit.
Probably jumping off on a tangent now, having that sort of experience and speaking like that, do you, again, you're probably doing something you never thought you'd do anyway, but do you
Yeah.
see yourself maybe stepping into the world of coaching one day?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm really interested in being a. I don't want to say like boast myself, but I think going through this journey, I'd love to be like a motivational speaker,
Mm,
or yeah, like a life coach or something like that. Because yeah, fighting puts you through some shit, and I've been through other things in my life that
yeah.
I don't want to say, but that has also taught me to never give up and to be healthy with yourself. Because if you're not healthy, he's not going to be healthy. And I've
Mm,
seen other people that don't take care of here. They don't only hurt themselves, but they hurt everyone around them.
Yeah. Hurt
So
people,
I
hurt people.
know, yeah, exactly. I know I don't want to drink because I want to be healthy here. I don't want to do bad things because I want to be healthy and happy.
Hmm. Do you think that is often with fighting, and I'm not sure, like, like the culture of Thais compared to like Westerners, the concept of the brain health is more important than the body health. Like we look at fighters, we look at their bodies and how fit they are and everything, but we don't know everything that's going on upstairs. Whereas if this is wrong, everything's wrong.
That is really true because there's been times where my fitness has been so shit. Like you get a last minute call up for a fight. I
Mm,
haven't trained, haven't done anything. But if he was okay, you can win. So
mm.
this is so important because there's been other times I've been so fit and ready to go, but this was not good and
If
I
you're off the
lost.
level. Yeah. Do you have any, I wouldn't say, I don't know if I'd say practices, but do you have like, as part of your routine, things that are, your go-to things that keep this in order?
Um, uh, it would just come back to the thing, like I said, like if it's not in order, and like
Mm,
all I have to do is just the routine. The routine is coming back to it. If I don't have routine, this is
yeah,
not good.
that's your key.
Routine, repetitiveness, and just keep going because eventually it's going to go back up. But if you get out of routine and don't follow, this is going to be a mess.
Mm, yeah. And you would have, like I said, that's our saving grace, isn't it? And there's, I
Routine,
can
yeah.
I can think of at least half a dozen names that professionals, you see them on the outside, they look great, but then you know about everything they've got going, if they just maybe focus on the upstairs as much as these.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Mm.
agree that I know a few people also, yeah.
Mm.
If they got their brain in check, they'd be superstars,
They could
but
conquer
they
the
don't
world.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's their choice too. That's,
Yeah,
you've
absolutely.
clearly made a choice and a commitment, and that it needs to be the whole package. You can't just commit as much as you think you want to.
Hmm.
Mm. All right, number 8. One time you have backed yourself when everything was just saying to give up.
Well, Muay Thai, the whole journey.
So
But
the answer for all 10 questions has been Muay Thai, and second question was birds. So,
I literally do nothing else.
and chocolate.
My whole life is Muay Thai. But yeah, basically at the start, even like my dad telling me, girls
Mm,
can't fight. You're not going to make money. Coming to Thailand, the trainer's saying you're never going to fight at Lumpinee Stadium. Like I think that gives me a bit of a push. Like I like proving people wrong. I'm like, yeah, well, you wait, you'll see.
yeah. But was
Or
there
like,
I mean, was there to the point where like friends or family were saying this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like this, like did you lose friends making this decision to go? Like, did it get to that point, or was like they're just like I said, you just wanted to prove people wrong?
well, no, I don't know. Like, I just wanted to prove people or prove myself right more than
Yeah.
proving them wrong. And, because my lifestyle is unconventional, I don't have the solid groups of people like, say, someone maybe like yourself has. So, like, when
Mm.
I moved here, they're all got their own lives anyway. Like, no one said, don't do that.
But now you would have your own little support crew over there.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
again, and I mean, as you get older, I'm approaching 50. The less friends I have, the better. Too many friends, it's just they're too hard work.
I agree. Yeah. I just have one main friend. Her name's Claire. She
Yeah.
was here at the gym with me and that was awesome, but she didn't get sponsored, so she went back to Phuket. But we talk on the phone all the time and we have the same sort of life. Like everything's Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And anything I ever need, I call her, I say, is this right? Is this wrong? She really helps.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all we need, isn't it?
Yeah, just one solid friend.
Question 9. 3 pieces of advice you would give to people that are finding reasons to not back themselves to instead back themselves.
If you don't back yourself, no one else will. And
Mm-hmm.
like, how can you do it if you don't back yourself? Like, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're going to go into the fight and say, I'm going to lose, well, that's what's going to happen.
Mm.
So whatever you think is what's going to happen.
Yep.
And
Number two.
then that, if you have reasons not to back yourself, there's 1,000 more to back yourself.
Yep.
And number three. Wait, can you say it again so I can think?
3 pieces of advice to people that are finding reasons to not back themselves, to instead back themselves.
This would be like like when you're old, you know how you said the rocking chair thing?
Mm.
Like I think about that too. Like when I'm old, I want to look back and like the things I did.
The word
So
I
like,
use, for that is it's like a legacy.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
how do
Like
you want to
you're
be remembered?
choosing. Exactly. You're choosing. Like I could say, oh, this is so shit. I don't want to fight every 4 months. I could give up and go home and
Mm.
work the shows. But I don't want that. I want to look back and be like, oh, well, like I did this, I did that, like I helped people, like, and I also want to be an inspiration to people. So people should think like that. Like I want to inspire people to give their all. Like I want
Mm.
people like I look at Sylvie and I'm like, oh, well, she's giving it her all. Like I look up to her.
Mm. Do you I say this to so many of my students, the kids that work their way up and start training in the adults classes at the gym. I don't think we understand how much of an influence we are with people by just being us and just doing what we're doing. Like, without embarrassing them too much, my kids think you are pretty fucking awesome. And it gives them, like I said before, it gives them a way to think, well, if she's doing it, I guess maybe I can do it, and they hear your story and hear that you've come from very humble beginnings. I think we have this belief that these people just materialized into doing this. Like you said, you go from not being able to do a star jump to being the first woman to fight at Lumpinee Stadium. That takes time, but they realize that if you can do it, then others can. How do you feel? Sometimes people have trouble with it, but how do you feel holding that amount of influence sometimes?
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I never feel pressure
Because
because
one
I
thing I
do it for
noticed at Fairtex, you never turned away from a photo. You were always happy and always willing to have that little chat. I mean, you would have probably seen people over the years that maybe, I don't know, not abuse that power, but don't understand that this is part of the gig too, you know?
yeah. What? Like I don't feel like I'm superior or whatever maybe they feel like they feel, but like
Mm.
I still feel like the girl that can't even do a star jump. Like
Just older.
I still
But I can
feel like
leg shit.
that.
I can leg kick the shit out of my old man.
Uh, yeah. I think I don't realize that people like I didn't know your girls looked up to me, so that makes me really happy. But I just hope that I can inspire people to give their all, and like
I
you
will. I
have to
will.
give it 100%.
You do. I will embarrass them even further. Like when we were at Fairtex one morning and they went to get a photo. They went, Celeste is over there. Can you go ask? I said, I'm not asking. You want the photo? You got to fucking ask. So we'll go. And they did the same for Stamp. They did the same for Smiller. And it's like they're just people, you know. I don't think they're going to say no.
No, never. And
You
Stanford Similar is exactly the same as me. Like they're so
Yeah.
funny, like easygoing. Like
Yeah. It's something that we don't often comprehend. Like we just don't understand how much influence we give people by just doing what we're doing.
yeah.
Now, final one, number 10, a quote to live by.
Oh, when I read the question, I remembered straight away. But now my mind's a bit tired. Well, I don't want to be repetitive. I've been repetitive the whole podcast, sorry, but no
Oh,
matter what you do, No matter what you do, give it 100%.
Okay. I think that's good. I think you're definitely an example of that. And like I said, you've thrown yourself into this. Now probably I have a question 10A or question 11. Not where does this end, but where does this go? Like, what do like, and again, without being a glass half empty guy, you're living overseas, you're living a dream / sometimes a nightmare, depending on who you speak to. You're inflicting a massive amount of punishment on your body. Is it just a case of, I just want to see where this can go? Like, is there an end point?
I don't want there to be an endpoint. That makes me really sad.
But I mean,
Um,
like, do you sort of get to a, like, I'm trying to find the words here. Is, how old are you now?
30.
So do you go, oh, I'll see where I'm at 35, or I'll see where I'm at 33, or do you just go, I'll just see where I'm at?
I mean, it does come to my mind, them questions, because you can't fight forever. But yeah, I just want to fight as long as I can, and I want to be like a multiple one championship champion. And then, like, I do want to continue Muay Thai. Like, I want to find a husband that does Muay Thai, and we can open a gym together. And then, like, we can travel the world doing seminars. And yeah, everything I've learned, I can teach to others. And also the motivational thing. Like, I love to travel and do that. That would be really cool.
And I think that's definitely something, that I think would be in your wheelhouse, because the best speakers are the people that have a story, and you've definitely got a story, and you speak really well, and you've got an opportunity to share that. And I think that's, you have who knows, you said you've just got to change one person's life, and that's the job done.
Yeah, yeah. I really do like changing people's lives. Like, I sometimes I could be a bit of a hard ass, I guess, like Mr. Wong. But like,
Mm.
I think you bring it up before. You're like, when you see people that don't give their all or something.
It's
Like, if I
frustrating.
see, yeah, if I see someone, like if I was you or someone that owned a gym and seen someone come like late or like just half-assed, I'd be like, why the fuck are you here if you're not going to give it
Yeah.
100%? If you want
Yeah.
to do it for fun, all right, that's fine. But if you want to be a fighter, you do the freaking work or fuck off.
I
Like,
have
and I
this.
mean that in a loving way.
No, do you know what? You mean it in a way that shows you care. Because if you didn't pull them up on that and call them out on that, they're just a number. You're just there for the paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
I have this discussion regularly with people, where a lot of people will just say, oh, martial arts is a hobby. And I said, yeah, cool. So when you get a box of Lego, do you just put all the bricks in the wrong fucking spot because it's just a hobby? When you get a model, if you're building model cars or model planes, do you just slap the paint on outside the lines because it's just a hobby? You're allowed to take hobbies seriously, because hobbies can become passions, and your passion can pay the bills. Like you're doing something that, like I said, you just sort of go like, you make money out of this? Yeah, I do. It's not millions, but I'm doing something that I really enjoy doing. And I think if you give a shit about it, who knows where it could go? We're all doing stuff that we didn't think 20 years ago we'd be doing, you know. But I think Celeste, I think you're doing something that, yeah, the big picture is you're not only seeing what you're capable of, you're letting other people see what they're capable of. And I think that's very important. So I would like to thank you for your time. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you. I really appreciate you taking time out of your routine. And please pass on my apologies to Mr. Wong if you're a little bit cranky this afternoon because you hadn't had as much of a nap. But if anyone wants to follow you on Instagram, which I think you're on from time to time, and anyone wants to see what you're doing, where's the best place to find you on socials?
Yeah, basically Instagram. Celeste the best 7.
And it's
Um,
Celest.
yeah.
Yep.
the best seven. TikTok I don't really use that much, and Facebook is just so mainly Instagram.
And your next fight is one
Oh,
championship October.
yeah.
And anyone who sees you at Fairtex in Patio, if they just ask you for a quick selfie, I'm sure you'll say
Yeah, of
yes and
course.
give a big smile.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
anything.
so, guys, thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on all of our stuff. You can find us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Listen to previous episodes, and there will be future episodes. But Celeste, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with everything. And keep living the dream.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show, and good luck with your show too.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.